Adam Christ for My MMA News with John Naples, who will be taking on Kevin Lynch at Fight to Win this Saturday at the 2300 Arena for Fight to Win. I appreciate you taking your time, Mr. Naples.
Thanks for having me.
Hey man, I'm here at Elite Jiu-Jitsu in Newark, Delaware. Like I said, you have a competition coming up in the brown belt division. Tell us a little bit about what you know about your opponent, man.
First thing I know is he trains with solid dudes.
Yeah.
Very familiar with all of his training partners over at Elevated and the whole balance team.
Yeah.
Couple buddies that I personally trained with and hung out with that I know is, so that's the one thing I know, he's getting super solid, super solid training.
Yeah, and one thing that, the higher belts you get, especially in the tri-state region, the more it starts to thin out. You know, you start to get to know everybody in your belt division, especially your weight class. So you kind of get a niche and get to know who you're competing against. So I got to ask, what got you started into this whole jiu-jitsu thing? I asked your teammates the same thing. Being with my MMA News, obviously working with MMA fighters and grapplers and kickboxers, Muay Thai fighters. Everybody has their story of what got them into their particular sport. Let's hear yours.
All right. Eric may have touched on it a little teeny bit. Well, how I got into it, because obviously I brought him over.
Yeah.
Growing up in high school, I had a buddy. His name's Eric Mann. He's a black belt right now. He been training. He was at a part of a school called Tai Chi, who then went to 302 Jiu-Jitsu since he was like 8, 9 years old. So he's been training. He was a purple belt at like 16. They gave him like a junior purple belt. Then when he hit 17, 18, they were like, all right, now it's an adult purple belt. So he was like a phenom. Yeah. Fought like JT Torres in the teens divisions and grapplers class that beat him. Like there's like cool old school podium pictures on him. So growing up with him in high school, I always knew oh, this dude does the UFC stuff, the jiu-jitsu stuff, and I knew he was a badass. Right. So as we're hanging out and going to high school, doing he's beating us up, drunk carpet grappling and stuff like that. So I started as his a little beat up dummy, just messing around. And I eventually was like, dude, I want to do this. Yeah. That's the end goal. I want to get into this. So we started doing privates in his basement when I was maybe 17, 18. I didn't have enough money to sign up at the time. So I had to just do them with him, just learning, just getting beat up. Eventually got a nice job, moved out, got everything situated. I was 19. And I was like, time to sign up. Where are you at? And at the time he made a switch. He found Jeff because Jeff trained him as a child. Right. Jeff was at Tai Chi 302 growing up. So found Jeff, we're at Hobson Moore, so he was here. I followed him, and now I'm here. 10 years later.
10 years later.
Yeah, just
got your brown belt and on your way. That's awesome, man. So let's talk a little bit about your competition coming up here. You Fight to Win, notorious grappling competition. It's going to be at the 2300 Arena. It's going to be a packed house. A lot of history goes into the 2300 Arena. So
the old ECW.
Grounds,
absolutely.
Yeah, there's so much history there that the house is going to be hacked. There's going to be a lot of energy there. On top of it, man, you're going to have flow grappling on there. So you're going to have a lot of eyes on you, needless to say. So I asked you, does that bring any added pressure to you, or does that not even play in your factor, or does
absolutely.
That?
Yeah, I'm a head case.
Yeah.
The hardest part is the couple weeks up to it, and of course I'm thinking about all that because I'm coming off of a loss. I Fight to Win. Yeah. I'm 1-1. Yeah. Did my first one, got a win. Did my second one, took an L. Yeah. So now I'm this is the balancing act between my record. So this is the one where I gotta go and perform. I gotta get that winning record back. So if anything, this has more stress than the first one and the second one. Because first one obviously first one, have at it, see what happens.
Sure.
And then I win. I'm all right, well now I gotta keep it going.
Yeah.
And you take a loss and you're slippery slope, a couple more losses, and I'm is Seth even gonna pick me if I lose another one? And then everyone's there, you're trying to sell tickets, the team's all doing good, you want to do good, it's everything's just stacking up.
It's so crazy, and most people don't think about this, the anxiety that goes into the competition aspect of it. And some people might be like, well, with jiu-jitsu, you're not getting hit, but you're under the broad spectrum of you can get anything broken, you can get choked unconscious. You're under the broad light. Anything can possibly happen. So how do you deal with the anxiety that goes behind competition? That's something that isn't often touched.
What I like to do, I go over the match in my head as many times as I possibly can, with me winning every possible way. Yeah. And I try to find could this happen? No, I'll just do this, and then I find a little path to win. And I do that over and over on my way to work, in the shower, laying in bed, until I just get it in my head I try to convince myself there's no way you can lose.
Right.
Like, you've gone over every scenario. I've tried to, at least. And that's pretty much it. The anxiety all flushes away the second you get out there and then you touch hands.
Yeah.
It dips. It goes away. And I realized that at like white belt. My whole grappling career, I'm working up, I'm anxious, I'm freaking out. But as soon as we touch hands, like everything goes away and you just feel like you're at the gym, just having a roll.
Yeah.
So that kind of keeps me comfortable knowing that like it all goes away once I get out there.
Right.
And then it kind of always does. So far, knock on wood.
I gotta ask, man, having your little brother on the card, is that a little nerve-wracking? Is it, you know what I mean? Because does the older brother play into any role of, you know, your brother can get hurt, anything could possibly happen, or are you more concerned about your match? How does that play? Because that's something that not many people have to deal with. They're more focused on themselves because they're in that environment.
I definitely have that for
Yeah,
sure. Especially like he's a little less conservative than I am with rolling. He's got, I don't know if he's just a little younger and like crazier, more confident, but he'll go for stuff where he'll jump in the air and he'll land on his head and like he's always putting himself in these like weird spots that like I like to stay tight and keep nice and clean. Like I try not to, you know, jump in the air, and he's all for it. So I'm watching him, and then obviously he's a little smaller than me. Feel like, you know, he goes up against a dude, he does something, slams him on his head. Like I'm like I said before, like I'm a head case. Like I'm constantly in my own head, worried about him. But he wins, he does good, then it's like, all right, like, you know, that's fine. If he loses and he's okay, I'm like, all right, cool. Like on to my match.
Yeah.
He always fights before me.
Yeah.
So I try to go out there, you know, coach him. That kind of melts the nerves a little bit because it gets me up to the stage. So like I have fun coaching him and doing all that. The added pressure it gives me also is if like I lose. Like I don't want to, obviously I don't like, you know, I still like to believe him as a 20-year-old man. He's still kind of like looking up to me a little bit. Like, oh, you know, he doesn't want his big brother to lose. I don't want him. So I try to really do my best to like not let like him down, or just as much as like Jeff or any of my other family there.
Right.
So with him, you know, him there in my corner, I'm like, I don't want to let him down.
Yeah.
I still feel like I have that big brother responsibility sometimes.
It has to be rough. But so talk about your balance of how you get into the gym. I mean, how often do you like to compete, to just training daily, to when you take time off? How do you find that balance, and how consistently do you like to train?
If in a perfect world, I love if I can get in 3 days a week, I'm satisfied. Like I'm happy. Four's great. If I can do 4 every once in a while, get some 4s in here and there, that'll kind of like give me a little boost. But with job and getting older and more stuff going on, like 3 days a week for me is great. Time off, it finds itself.
Yeah.
Like time off finds itself in my work schedule. I'm a steam fitter out of 420 in Philadelphia, so we go through big shutdowns at the refineries where I might be on 7 days a week, 12-hour days for 6 weeks at a time. I might be able to get in like 1 day a week, or like sneak in late, like real late on like a labor roll in and just like get a couple rounds in. Wow. So it finds itself. Like I don't have to worry about like, should I take some time off if I've been overtraining? Because it'll come up, and then before I know it, I'm out of that swing. So with that, my competitions, I have to time them right. Everything has to line up. Like the competition has to be at a time where I haven't been interrupted with a hiatus from me going and working so much. So I'm not competing as much as I used to, for sure.
What would you say is your biggest attribute going into this Saturday opposed to your opponent?
My biggest attribute going opposed to my opponent? I'd like to think that I'm pretty well-rounded. Like I'm pretty, the way I roll, I feel kind of guilty admitting it, but I don't drill too much. I don't drill and get like, patterns. I'm kind of loose. So wherever we take it, I feel like I can adapt. I can flow, and I can get to where I need to be. I'm pretty versatile in a lot of different spots. Like I know that he's probably not going to be able to watch tapes on me and find a trend. There's not going to be many trends to follow because it's just going to be something almost a little different every time. So I kind of like having that.
Yeah. And if you had to call let's say Babe Ruth your shot, if you had to call your shot at the end, how do you get your hand raised Saturday night? How do you walk away with the W? If you're so bold.
Is this getting aired after or
It is
before?
getting aired before.
Woo.
Like I said, if you're so bold.
Before?
Yeah.
I hate to give the game away. But, right, alright.
You don't
let's
even
go.
give the game away. All you gotta say is how you finish it.
Alright.
It's like how you get into it, just arm bar, knee bar,
It's going to be a choke.
choke.
It's going to be a choke.
That's all we need to know.
All right.
I appreciate it, Mr. Naples.
Thank you.
Good luck this weekend,
Appreciate
and check us out, mymmanews.com. Check out my man, Mr. Naples, Fight to Win, this Saturday.